Hey, beautiful humans. I'm Sarah Mason, the founder of Beyond NLP Coaching, your one-stop place to break free from old patterns, move rapidly through challenges, and really expand into the next level of your own growth. This video is a very gentle conversation, not a confrontation, please, but it's one I believe the world deeply needs to hear today. It's for those doctors who carry the immense weight of responsibilities. It's for the patients who have sat across from those doctors, really clinging to that every word, waiting, hoping, and sometimes fearing what would come next. It's for the families, the carers. It's for the quiet ones sitting in that background, holding it all together. And it's for every soul, and I mean every soul who has ever been diagnosed or touched by a diagnosis that changed everything for them. I've worked with hundreds, and I mean hundreds of clients in that delicate space, right? Between science and soul, people with cancer, autoimmune disorders, infertility, terminal illnesses, people who were told there was nothing more that they could do for them, or there is nothing that could be done after that suggestion was given. And what I've noticed again and again is pretty much this. The doctor's words don't just describe a condition. Listen to that. Doctor's words don't describe just a condition. They often become the condition in itself, because when you're sitting in fear, right? And when you've just received a life-altering news that will change your state and who you are, your brain, your heart, your organs, your nervous system, they're very wide open, right? So I've worked with hundreds of clients, all types of clients, in a very delicate space, the space between science and soul, right? People with cancer, autoimmune diseases, disorders, infertility, terminal illnesses, right? People who were told there was nothing more that could be done for them, right? And what I've noticed again and again is this point that I want to bring across today. The doctor's words don't just describe a condition specifically. They often become the condition in itself, because when you're sitting in fear, when you've just received a life-threatening news or altering news, your brain, your heart, your nervous system, they're wide open, right? You're not just listening, you're recording, you're downloading, you're locking in what's being said to you. And I've sat with a woman once who was told that she had 6 weeks to live. She was in her 40s at the time, she was vibrant, she was strong, and she told me, she goes, the moment he said it, something in me gave up. Not because her body was failing, but because her spirit believed him, because he wore that white coat, because he spoke like God. And I've sat with another woman with a very similar diagnosis, right? Same stage, similar age, but when the doctor said there's not much we can do, she didn't collapse to that information. She didn't collapse in that very moment. She turned around and said, then I'll find a way or what I can do to overcome this. And she lived five years past what they had predicted, not just surviving, but really living, rebuilding her own meaning, reconnecting with her faith, shocking the medical system and the team, not because she did anything magical, no, but because she didn't accept limitation as a law for her. She refused that idea. So doctors, I respect you so deeply. I see the weight that you carry already, but you must know something. You hold more power than you actually think or you perceive. Your words become the instructions of a mind, of a subconscious mind of a human being. And when someone is in a fight, flight, or a freeze response, your tone, your body language, your sentences, the structure, they land very differently. they bypass something called the logical faculty of the brain. They go straight to belief, and belief shapes biology, just like Bruce Lipton once explained in The Biology of Belief. The environment that we create around ourselves determine how they behave. And your language is part of that environment. When you say this is aggressive, or this is terminal, or there is no cure, you may be speaking medical truth. But if you say it with softness, without hope, without curiosity, it lands like a curse, and the body responds accordingly. And I work with clients every week who are not traumatized by the illness, but by how the illness was spoken into them. Words like, you have to live like this forever. MS, classic example. Or you're not going to get better. This will ruin the quality of your life. These statements don't help the body, okay? They don't help the body prepare. They teach the body to surrender before the healing has ever begun. I mean, so many amounts of studies have shown that the power of language, the tone, the tempo, the suggestions, a white coat can potentially show up in as a doctor, the profession who you're sitting as an authority can give a human. Statistically now we can find that they deteriorate a lot quicker if they don't challenge you, because they trust you. They trust that you know a lot more than what they know. You've studied 10, 13, 20 years of your life to know more, but what they forgot to teach you is compassion. They taught you conventional medicine. They taught you A to Z. They taught you the black and white, the up and down, in and out, but they forgot to teach you the expansion of truth, the biology, the belief system, the trust, the process of leaning in. They forgot to teach you language and how to relay information, how to deliver that. They forgot it. And unless you've got this already in your mother nature, then great. But if you don't, let me continue. These clients end up surrendering because of what you said, and not what you said was incorrect. It's the way it was laid down that puts them in a position where they now believe that there is no more hope. And if they were a type of person that used to believe in hope, now they don't. And if there was someone that didn't believe in hope, well, now that just explained it again and again. There is no hope. And if there's someone with deep faith, they'll override you if their faith is stronger. If not, that will also diminish. You're dimming the light for people. That's not fair. That's not fair. And this is not a debate. It's not a debate. It's just a conversation, just a gentle conversation, right? They surrender before the healing has even begun, right? Instead, what if you said, as the doctor wearing a white coat, right? Let's walk this together. There are still ways to support your system, your immune system, your body. There's more things to explore, even if the condition says it's not false hope, right? It's keeping that window open for these people, because when the mind stays open, the body stays very responsive, and the spirit stays quite engaged. It has that knowledge to expand and to explore and to read more and to research. But when you shut it down, you've closed off something for someone. And again, just let that land, right? There's something about this white coat. It doesn't just carry status. It really does carry symbolism. To many patients, especially those in grief, panic or fear, or naturally with heightened anxiety abilities or depressive states, just naturally in the comorbidity of who they are in their body, in their nature, their temperament, right? We'll take these on board, enmesh them, dress them, wear them as a coat, no longer as an armor for healing, but an armor of belief to fall into that trap and not believe there's any more hope. I mean, I'm not saying that there's some things that we don't, that can't heal or can heal. I'm just saying it's the language, the importance of understanding language, right? You feel like Or I feel like sometimes the white coats feel like you're playing God, but you're not. He didn't give you the right to judge, to prescribe, to tell you your angel of death, to say that, someone's life is going to end. You may have learned it in university, in medical school, in science. Yeah, cool. A higher power never gave you that power. And so we've got to be very careful and mindful. We've got to be really mindful. I've had clients say things like, I trusted my doctor more than I trusted my own body. He told me I'd never heal, so I stopped even trying. She said it. It was incurable. So I gave up on the hope altogether to begin with. Really? Please understand, the moment you put on that coat, you enter someone's most vulnerable space, their belief system. And what you say there echoes. It really does. But it doesn't have to echo harm. It can echo belief. It can echo possibilities. And belief, that's where healing really begins. You've likely seen it, two patients with the same diagnosis, one deteriorates very quickly and the other defies all odds. Have you ever stopped for that moment and just asked why? Maybe it's not just the treatment plan. Maybe it's what they believe about their bodies, their life, their future. Maybe it's what they hold spiritually, their faith, their own connection to something higher than themselves. Because I've seen the same thing happen over and over. I'm a Muslim and I believe in one God and I believe healing comes through him, right? But I've also worked with Christians, I've worked with Jews, I've worked with Buddhists, I've worked with agnostics, people who call it the universe, people who call it love. It doesn't really matter what language they actually use. When someone believes in something greater than their own diagnosis, right? They rise differently. They connect to meaning, and where there is meaning, there is definitely motivation. Where there is motivation, there is life. That doesn't mean everyone survives, right? But I've watched people live more fully in their final months than they've ever did in any time of good health because of the meaning, because a belief made space for peace, for purpose, for surrender, not to death, but to trust. So to the doctors watching this, I'm not asking you to believe what I believe. I'm not. I'm asking you to leave space for your patients to believe what they believe and to speak in ways that honor the full spectrum of what healing looks like, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Your words are medicine. They can be precision tools or blunt instruments. Use them with intention because someone's entire inner world might be shaped by the sentence you speak in under 1 minute. In under 1 minute. And to the patients watching this, you're allowed to question what you've been told. You're allowed to revisit the beliefs you inherited from a diagnosis. And you are absolutely allowed to return home to yourself, to your body, to your breath, to your faith, however it looks for you, right? You are not just cells and charts or numbers. You are wisdom. You are resilience. You are a soul. And if you've been carrying a diagnosis like a death sentence, maybe it's time to rewrite your own story. Not in denial, but in dignity, not in fantasy, but in belief. And to the medical world, we are not an opposite team. I don't want to replace what you do. I want to walk beside you and beside it. Let's move from the cold clinical language to conscience care. Let's shift from what's wrong to what's still possible. Let's build that bridge, from science to spirit. Because when medicine meets belief, when biology meets compassion, when language, and I mean language becomes intentional, how we deliver it, healing becomes multidimensional. And that's what every human deserves to have. Thank you. And really thank you for listening if you've watched this to the end. If this resonated with you, please share it with your doctor, your loved ones, your team. Let us start a conversation that shifts this system slightly, because we don't just need a better treatment or better treatments. We need better language. We need more presence. We need belief to come back into the room, into that space. Your body is still listening. Let's speak to it with hope. Please, let's speak to it with hope. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this. You know, your voice matters also just as much as mine. Take one thing from this video and put it into your day. Maybe a thought, an idea. Create a bit of a research. Ask a friend, what are their thoughts? From my heart to yours, as always,